Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today I'm looking at Bitcoin again, just playing around with the chart and looking at the 6 week chart. I'm thinking maybe what if it's a triangle? I've never heard anybody say this at all, just because of how ridiculous it is and so off-putting it is. But and when I say triangle, I'm talking about an Elliott wave triangle, right? So I'm on linear scale, which I'm never on, and I was just trying to, see if there's anything I can notice. So I'm just looking at it, and it kind of makes sense so far, right? And and here we go. So in order for this to work, every wave needs three waves. So first of all, let's label the triangle potential triangle. I have no clue if this is even remotely possible, but I would just suggest from 1, 2, 3. So that would be A. And then we have 1, 2, 3. This would be B. And then we have 1, 2, 3. Three's probably not finished yet, but then we have C. And you know what? I like this too because it falls in line with my reaccumulation idea, which is my number one idea, in case you didn't know, or at least top two ideas, right? So that's C, and then we come down for D. I don't know if D has to necessarily come all the way down. It doesn't. It really depends, right? But I would imagine somewhere in this 20 mid 20K range potentially, right? And then we go up for E. Now, the problem with this is that's a bearish triangle, right? Because it's signaling that we're going to die. So that's kind of why I don't like it. But, um, as far as when I said the reaccumulation idea, how it aligns with that, it needs to be drawn a little differently. But let's entertain this idea first. So we have 1, 2, 3. A, 1, 2, 3, B, 1, 2, 3, C, come down for 3, D, 1, 2, 3, E, and then basically we come down. Let me do it correctly. Let me put a line right around here. We basically come back down to that 12 to 10K area. So yeah, we have 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and then we come down for that, and then we come down in 5, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We hit the bottom. People are totally convinced that it's dead, right? Because we broke the trend line. But remember, liquidity, right? The big whales want liquidity. And the only way they get that is by breaking structure, resistance, support, trend lines, so that money pours into the market so that they can capitalize on the opposite side of the trade, right? So that's sort of one little idea, bearishly, right? And then at that point, I would say moonshot, right? At that point, I would say moonshot. So there you go. There's the triangle there. I don't know if that's going to play. I have no idea. But I just thought I'd share it because, I'm playing around with the charts. I see three waves. It makes sense. It gives us everything we need. So, for example, I'll show you here. Let me get my drawing. Let's go light blue. So we have a rise, we have a crash, we have the retracement, and then we come down for reaccumulation. Now, reaccumulation doesn't mean that it can just come down here, go flat, then continue to rise. It could actually, challenge this low and even break the low, right? Which in other words, it would be more of like an ABC, just in the form of like a triangle, if that even makes sense, right? So you have your rise, you have your crash, you have a retracement, and then you have the C leg, right? But then at that point, it would just be a big WXY, right? So for example, you have W, you come down for X, right? And then Y, right? And then you have another WX and then Y. So you kind of have like a double WXY, if you would. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Just throwing it out there. I don't know if that would play or not. It's one of the ideas that I would definitely consider. It's on my radar because it makes sense. I like how we have this upwards trend, right? I like how we have this downward trend, or this downward resistance line. So, and you go, well, why didn't you see this before? Because I never use linear scale. I use log scale, and on log scale it wouldn't work. The trend lines don't match up. But on linear scale, it looks nice. So it looks like it could do that, right? And it also gets us down to this 14K area, this 10. A lot of people been calling 10K, 12K, 9K, but it never came, right? Because the majority is always wrong. But that doesn't mean it won't come later, right? Usually people are right in the end, but not in the way they expect it to go in the time that it takes. See, people were expecting it to come down to 10K here, but instead we went all the way up for a pit stop and then worked our way back down, right? So that's the trickery of the market, right? So that's just one idea to float there. I think it's definitely worth considering. So we'll see how that progresses. In order for this to work, I want to see another high, maybe 47, and kind of go flat a little bit, and then start working our way down in 3 waves. Now this is the 6-week chart, right? This is the 6-week chart. So each candle is 6 weeks. So it's going to take some time. I mean, we probably won't bottom out till another 2 years from now if this were to play, which would be terrible, right? It would suck. But it's definitely one you have to think about. So now let's see if we can do it in a different way. And by the way, I'm still, this is blockchain backers chart. I'm still, tracking this fractal here. Still looks pretty good for a 4th wave. So we'll keep an eye on that. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel and supporting the channel, and that'd be great. So this is the triangle on log scale, and as you can see, it doesn't look quite normal. I mean, I guess it works, but the proportions for me are a little bit off. So for this purpose, I'm using linear scale. Okay, so back to linear scale. So now I'm going to try to look at this triangle bullishly, and something we don't have to wait for like a year or 2 years just for it to bottom out and come back down to that 14K area back down here, where it basically breaks to the downside and we get crushed. So and essentially the triangle would just be like this. It would just be moved over. Now you can label it here. The problem with labeling it here is you have 1, 2, and 3, but this candle here took out this high. So it really screwed up a lot of people. A lot of people say that's the all-time high, and it is, but it's based off of a retracement, not necessarily an impulse wave. So just for that purpose, I'll just label it here, and I'll say this is A, and now we come up for B, We're still working our way up to B. Then we come down for C, which is what I like, and this circles back to my grand theory of rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. But I think it would be nice if it was in the form of, say a triangle, just like it was before, and I'll talk about that too. So we're in B. We got a little bit higher to go, maybe 47 to 50K, maybe 51K, right? I think Bitcoin's got a good chance between 46 and 51K, or 47 and 51K. I think it does. I think it's got a good chance at knocking on the door. Or it could be done now. B could be already finished, right? So you never know. But let's say it isn't finished. We come back down for C, right? And look where C goes. Now C can come all the way down here, or it could come and backtest this area right in here. So all this you see these cluster of candles right here, beautiful support right there for reaccumulation, right? And then we sort of, bounce off of that support. We retrace this move here and we land on D, right? Not necessarily going all the way back up. It doesn't have to, right? Because it's a contracting triangle. It's contracting itself. So it doesn't necessarily, these trend lines that I've drawn for the triangle are just like a guide. They're just a guide to keep us in there. So they don't necessarily have to touch for an Elliott wave contracting triangle, but oftentimes they do. But since this is so big, this is a massive triangle, it wouldn't be a fault if it didn't touch the top of the line. So the point is, you want to have 3 waves in the structure. Each A, B, C, D, you want 3 waves, and you also want the price to be contracting. So there you go. And then we land on E, and then there you go. That's it, right? And then that would basically do this this theory, right, of my overall theory, which is this is a rise, this is a crash, this is a retrace, and then we come down for reaccumulation. We go sideways, and then we blast off, right? So that sideways action would then be the C, the D, and the E, right? So we would be in this range in here, and then we would go. I really like that. So that makes perfect sense to me right there. So even if it's not a triangle, I still like it. Like if I took everything off and say it's not a triangle, it's not a triangle, it's still, in my opinion, a rise, a crash, a retrace, a reaccumulation, sideways, and then blast off. Just like all the times before. So I can show you those right now. But before I do, so this was triangle number 1, the bearish idea, which is an A, B, C, D, E, and then we come down, we finally hit that 10 to 14K mark everybody's been calling for. The reason why it didn't happen when they said it was going to happen is because usually the majority is always wrong, and it happens after the fact, like, different times, but same target. So there's your bearish idea right there. And then here is the bullish idea, which this is an A, B, C, D, and E. Same thing. It's just labeled a little different, but also it aligns with the rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation structure. If you've been following my channel, I talk about that like all of the time in all of the charts. And I can run through some examples if you haven't seen any. But let's see. Well, basically, you have XRP doing the same thing, right? So same thing. You have a rise, you have a crash, you have a retrace. So imagine Bitcoin is like right in here, right? So you have a rise, crash, retrace. Bitcoin's right here. Then you come down for reaccumulation, and then you go sideways, right? And then you blast off. One of the reasons why I'm very bullish on XRP. And the same thing happened down here. Same thing happened down here. You have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, right? And this was A, B, C, D, and then E. So this was E down here and allowed us to blast off. So going to Bitcoin, let me take all that off, and you're gonna see. Let me zoom down to let's go to the weekly chart. And it happened, the same thing happened here, a same type of contracting triangle. So let me show you. So we have this there, over there. I'm not trying to do it perfect. I'm just doing it for the purpose of this video. So we have A, B, C, and this was D. And this little wave right here, see, notice it didn't come all the way down here. Instead, it paused out right in here and gave us that E, right? And then what is that? What is that? It's the same thing. It's a rise, a crash, a retrace, a reaccumulation, right? And then you're in this sideways box. See? Now it's, look, see, right there, right there. See how it's all coming together? See how the puzzle pieces are fitting in and going like that aha moment, like, ah, finally. And it's really cool. And this is why I like charts, because, you know, when you look at it long enough, things start to make sense. And you go back and you go, you know what? I remember that structure from this chart last week. And you go back and say, hey, this chart looks kind of like what this chart did 2 weeks ago. And this chart has that same result. Let me go back and, you see what I mean? So you start plugging things together. And that's sort of like, you know, like you're on a scavenger hunt, or better yet, you're like a homicide detective trying to gather clues, right? So, you know, so anyway, we have a triangle just like the triangle I shared over here. Now, this is on log scale, so it's a little different, right? But basically, same type of thing. Rise, crash, retrace, and then you go into this reaccumulation box. So it's kind of cool. You can see them side by side right here. You have both boxes, right, for your reaccumulation. And then you have, obviously, the triangle. The triangle. And there you go. So same thing for Ethereum, right? You have the same type of thing, and I'll go over them all again side by side. But yeah, there's your triangle, and then sort of your sideways consolidations. Not pretty like the other ones, but same concept, right? Which essentially means what? You have a rise, a crash, a retrace, and then you go down into reaccumulation, and then you blast off, right? So that's how I see Bitcoin performing. Now, rather if it goes into the triangle or not, I still think it's got a good chance at coming down for reaccumulation after we topped out. Maybe we topped out already, maybe not, but we'll talk about it. So just real quick, I'll run right through them. So here's the triangle, Ethereum. Example number 1. We had a rise, crash, retrace in that green box, reaccumulation. Example number 2. Here's XRP, right? Here's both triangles in XRP. You can see the same type of concept, right? And here's a closer look, right? So you have A, B, C, D, E. And essentially, it's just a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm so bullish on XRP at the moment, because it is one of the only coins at that green box that is ready to fly, right? So, for example, you know, let me take a screenshot. Most coins are like, for example, Bitcoin. Bitcoin's like right here. Right? So remember, it went up to its 60K, 69K, top, then it had its big bear market for the longest time, and now what is it doing? It's going into its retracement, and it's right about here. Maybe it's got a little bit more to go, but basically it's right here, right? So XRP is already at the finish line. It's ready to go now. And you're going to say, well, how can XRP do this if Bitcoin's going to, do that? Well, because usually Bitcoin performs first and then XRP goes after the fact. Just look at 2017. XRP was the last to moon. And then also, when you get up in here, you start to range. So you see that little box in there? We're ranging in the top. So, for example, when Bitcoin's going up, XRP's going flat, right? And then once Bitcoin, tops out, which I don't think it has, but once it tops out, then it's still going to go somewhat flat. But then once it comes down and starts to range in this box in here, so right in here, right, we'll get up to the top and we'll range. That's when the rotation comes into the altcoins for XRP, and that's when XRP can explode to the upside. That's why I'm so bullish on XRP, because this is the trade of a lifetime right here for me. Obviously it could come down and break the triangle, right? But I think eventually it's going to go back and do its thing. But hopefully it just does it now. So we'll see. Okay, and then here's Bitcoin back in 2018 through 2020. It's the same thing, guys. Same thing. I don't know why people like to make things complicated, but it's the same thing. Same exact deal, right? So back in 2018, we had a rise, a crash, a retrace, a reaccumulation. So going back to XRP, right? XRP is right here. Right here. Somewhere in there. That's why I'm so bullish on it, because it's already completed, right? Remember, the biggest important thing, XRP never went into a new all-time high. It never did. Instead, it did this, right? Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways box, blast off. So it never did, right? So this is where we are now. See what I'm saying? It's starting to make sense now, right? So, for example, here was the rise, the crash, and the retrace, and then the reaccumulation. And then we blasted off. So this is right where XRP is, right? Because Bitcoin is 1, 2, 3 waves ahead of XRP, right? XRP's here. So this is 1, 2, 3. So Bitcoin is 3 waves ahead of XRP. So once Bitcoin starts to chill out up here in this box, that's when XRP can go. And then once it comes back down to reaccumulation, that's when XRP goes into its bear market. So you there's some jigsaw puzzles in there we got to overcome. But for the most part, I think it makes sense. And this is it. This is it. The grand finale right here. The Bitcoin grand finale, which is number 1. This is my number 1 idea. And it doesn't mean it has to be a triangle. I'm not saying it has to be a triangle, but it still doesn't matter. The biggest thing is this is a rise. This is the bull market. Bull market, bear market, retracement. Then you come back down for reaccumulation. Then you go on to the next bull market. That is normally how all the coins go. I showed you example after example after example. XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin. Those are the 3 big hitters, right? And they're all saying the same thing. I can go show you a chart on gold. I could show you a chart on silver. I can show you different altcoins, right? Look at QNT. QNT looks like it's ready to go, right? So basically, here's my message. Look for coins that are in this box. Don't look for coins that are going into its retracement. Now, THETA would be my only exception. THETA would be my only exception. Because it's, I like THETA, and I'm not going to give it up just because I think it's in a retrace. I think it's got a lot, even if it only goes into a retracement, it's still a massive move. It's still a massive move. Right? So I think, let me do that again. I think THETA, for example, and like Filecoin, I think ADA. So all those coins, I think they're like right in here. So they still have to go all the way up into a retracement. They have to go all the way back down for reaccumulation. And then they have to go sideways for 6 months to a year, up to 2 years before then blasting off. But the thing is, you don't have to wait, because guess what? There are coins that are in this box ready to go. Which one are they? Well, off the top of my head, I could say, without a doubt, XRP, big time, number 1. Number 2, XLM. Number 3, QNT. And last but not least, Matic. Oh yeah. Matic is sort of like on the fence, because I'm not sure. We'll talk about that later, but I'm not sure if it's completed its retracement fully yet for me to give the green light on its reaccumulation phase. So that's basically it for the market. I just wanted to bring you that idea that I think this could be a potential. And here's the thing. Before, right? I never even shared this idea, which is the triangle, which is saying this is a triangle right in here, and this is an A, B, C, D, E, and then we go. But what I like about it is this triangle gives confluence into my grand theory of bull, bear, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, go. Because if it lines up perfectly, right? And then you also have this trend, right? From 3K to the COVID to this previous bottom we had. So this is your trend line right in here. So just keep an eye on that puppy. Now, this count says we don't go to 14K or 10K. And here's why I really, really, really love it. You want to know why I really love it? Because most people down here, very important what I'm about to say. Most people down here were saying what? We got to go down to 14K. So I'm just going to put a little box right here. This is where everybody thought we were going, right? We were going to go down to this 14K, 10K area. Never happened. Why? Because they're always wrong. Majority, right? So what happened? We went all the way back up. Now what are people saying? Oh, now 14K, 10K is off the table. Now we're not going to go back down there. And then what happens? You guessed it. We come all the way down. But we don't go to 14K. Instead, we backtest this area right in here. We backtest, we backtest this area right in here. So, right, retail is saying what? Everybody's saying right in here, we're going down to 10K. We come all the way up. Now everyone's saying that's off the table. Now we're going to all-time high, right? A lot of people are still wishy-washy and scared on the altcoins, but I think another pump to 47K would seal the deal, right? But then once we start to drop into this reaccumulation, right? Once we start to drop into this reaccumulation, all we're doing is back testing this area right in here, right? And then retail says what? We're going back down to 10K. We're going back down to 13, 12, 9K, right? That's what they're going to say. But little do they know, all we're doing is accumulating on top of this base right here. And remember the video I had the other day? I think it was yesterday, or I can't remember. But I basically said here, let me get rid of that. I basically said, bear with me. I said this is a box, this is a box, and now we're going to trade into another box and then start to go, right? So, and that was based off of what? The 2014 fractal, right? Remember in 2014, 2015, 2016, we had the bear market, we came down, we consolidated in the box, we broke out. Consolidated in the box, broke out. Consolidated in the box, bull run. And all, here's the best part. All three of those ideas are in Confluence. Number one, right? Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. Number two, A, B, C, D, E, blast off. Number three, retail saying we're going down to 10K, but we went up here. Then when we get up here, they say that's off the table. Then we come back down here. Then when we come back down here, they say 10K again, but it never happens. Instead, we go back up. So it's always the opposite, right? Think about it. If we drop, if we, imagine this scenario. We go to 47K or 50K. Everybody's excited, right? Everybody's happy. Then all of a sudden, we range for a little bit, sideways. They're going, oh, they're in a happy mood. It's okay. We're just correcting. Not a big deal. Altcoins are popping off. ADA, 200%. XRP, 400%. Matic, 300%. THETA, 500%. Whatever, going up, 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 up. Nothing can happen. Everything's fine. Everything's perfect. And then what happens? Bitcoin drops all the way down, back test this area, goes into this reaccumulation box. Now they're freaking out. Now their altcoins are down 30, 40, 50, 60%. Now Bitcoin just dropped and everybody's scared, right? And what comes back? What narrative comes back? The same narrative that was over here. Which is what? We're going down to 10K, 9K. But in reality, we're just in reaccumulation. So as we are, the whales, because look at, if you're a whale, think about this. If you're a whale, you're a multi-millionaire, billionaire, whatever. Are you going to buy Bitcoin right now? Bitcoin went up basically all year. Here's the beginning of the year, and here we are at the end of the year. And it's a straight line up. Why would a smart investor wouldn't buy that? What they're going to do is, here's wave one. They're going to wait for wave two, and then they're going to accumulate in wave two so that they can gear up for the biggest wave of all, which is wave 3 and 5. So that's what I'm saying, guys. So basically that would be what? An A, B, C, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 3, right? 4, 5. And that would be a completed Elliott wave. So I don't know about you, but this video got me some chills, because now granted, we are a long ways away. We are a very long ways away from anything remotely happening, right? So again, I'm going to give you my full idea. So basically, idea number one, no particular order, which is this triangle, right? And added to it is rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off, right? And added to that is the retail sentiment and all that. So that's the main idea. Okay, the second idea is this. We come down, and now we're just ready to march into new all-time highs. Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. Is it likely? I don't think so. I mean, of course, it can happen. And if it does happen, I would be great. I would be more than happy to be wrong. I would be ecstatic. I would be awesome, because then I know the altcoins would be going completely more nuts, right? So that's idea number 2. Idea number 3 is, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is A, this is B, and now we're going down into wave C, and we're going to back test that 10, 14K area. I've never said 9 to 14K is off the table. Never said that. It's definitely on the table if this is an ABC. What I'm saying is, when retail says it, it's usually not the case, right? Because remember, they said it down here. They said it was coming soon. But then 1 year later, we're way up here, and now they changed their mind. But I'd never changed my mind, because I always assumed that it could happen, just not in the way we expect it to happen, right? Most people expected it to do this in an easygoing way, not to go all the way down, then all the way back up, then all the way down, then sideways, then back down. See, it's the way you get there is what makes all the difference, right? So there you go. Those are the ideas. Basically, this is an A, B, C. We back test 10 to 14K, then we go. Or this is a triangle, rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, then we go. Or we're simply just going to march up and go. So those are the 3 main ideas. And remember, the last video I had, I only had 3 ideas. But what is awesome in this video is the triangle idea just added an addendum to my primary idea, which makes it even more primary. Which means it makes it more of my grand thesis. Because my grand thesis has always been what? Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, go. Right? That's sort of been my number 1 idea. But now, since we have this triangle that I like, I never really gave it the benefit of the doubt, but as I started digging and digging, now I'm starting to like it. Now, it doesn't have to be a triangle. Now, people, Elliott wave gurus, they'll say, that's not a triangle, that can't be a triangle, see, that wave is too long and this wave is not long and it's got 1, 2, 3, you got those guys out. But that's not the point of it. What the point is, the structure itself. It's the structure. Just like accumulation. If I say Wyckoff accumulation, it doesn't mean it has to be textbook Wyckoff accumulation. Accumulation is accumulation, guys. It doesn't matter if it's Wyckoff accumulation or regular. The point is, it's accumulating. Whales, the whole point of it is whales, smart money, are accumulating. That's the whole point. That's the whole point, right? So it doesn't mean if it's Wyckoff, it doesn't mean that if it's not Wyckoff, if it's not a textbook Wyckoff schematic, that it's not accumulation. That's not true, right? There's a lot of different areas where, look at this box down in here. This wasn't technically, I guess you could say it was Wyckoff, right? But maybe technically it wasn't. But it doesn't matter. It still was accumulation. So, and that's what I think is happening here. And the same thing that I'm saying, it doesn't matter if it's a triangle or not. The point is the structure in which it's doing, which is what? Bull market, phase 1. Bear market, phase 2. Retracement, phase 3. Reaccumulation, phase 4. Blast off, phase 5. Those are the 5 phases of the market, and that's what I'm looking for. And it just so happens that it's also lining up with a contracting triangle, or at least it appears to be at the moment. Now I'm doing it preemptively, right? Because we haven't even gotten our B wave yet, right? Now you could say, like in the other one, that this was A, B, C, D, E, and then we go down and die, right? That would be my 4th idea. So I gave you 3 ideas, and that would be idea number 4, which is the idea I shared first on the video, which is A, B, C, D, E. Then we come back down and backtest what? 10K, 14K area, and then we go to the moon. That is idea number 4. And I like that idea. I think that idea is definitely plausible. But that idea, guys, that idea aligns with what? The ABC. And then we go. So regardless if it's an ABC or the other triangle, the concept is the same, which is what? It gets us down here. Right? Just same thing with the triangle. The concept of rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, right? Or the concept of A, B, C, D, E, it's the same thing. It's just saying it or labeling it differently. And it gives it confluence. It gives more confluence to that idea because both of them match up so nicely. So there you go, guys. That's all I have to say. Hope that made sense to everybody. I still got to do theta fuel. I know people have been asking about it. And maybe touch up on some other altcoins. But guys, most of the altcoins are doing just fine. Nothing to worry about. They are in accumulation, right? So here is total 3, just real quick. I look at this like Wyckoff, right? 1, 2, 1, and then your spring. So think of Wyckoff like an M, right? So something like this. And it's textbook. I don't have the example on the page with me, but let me see. So here it is right here. Let me zoom in here. And basically you could see it's like an M. 1, 2, 3, and then you sort of go in this creek and then you go. So basically, just take a mental screenshot of this. I believe we are right in here. So pay very close attention. We're right in here, and I'm going to go back to the other chart, and you'll see. So we have this 1, 2, 3. Sideways accumulation, right? Or creek or spring, right? Some of them do this where they come down, they take out this low, and then they go, right? So for the purpose of this, I'll just say creek, right? I'll say creek. So we have 1, 2, 3, creek, and then impulse. And then we have accumulation, 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 blast off. So remember that. All right, so same thing right here. So this is the total 3. This is excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. This is all your coins. This is your favorite coin right here. So we have 1, same thing as before. As the example, we have 1, 2, 3, creek, and then what do we have? Impulse. And then what are we doing now? Accumulation. And then what comes next? Blast off. Same thing, guys. This is why I'm so excited for what's to come. A lot of people are like kind of on the fence right now. They don't believe it, right? You know, you have some bullish sentiment out there, but you also have some worries out there. So we're not there yet. It's when your cousin's best friend is calling you up saying, "Hey, I just bought Bitcoin." If then you kind of figure like, okay, we're getting close to the end here, but we're not there yet. So and this up move can be triggered by an ETF or who knows what it could be triggered by, right? Some type of event should take out this price. And remember, when the news comes out and says the ETF or this or that or this or this, they only use that as an excuse as to why it crashed or as to why it went up. But a lot of the times things are already priced in. Look at this. This has been this whole structure has been creating itself since May of 2022. So you have May 2023, May 2024. So about not even 2 years, right? But still, it's been a long time. So if we get an ETF approval and it explodes, then they say, well, the price exploded because of the ETF approval. But not understanding that this whole thing was going to explode regardless because of the structure it made. The ETF approval is just the excuse to get it to go, right? So that's what I'm saying, like when it gets priced in already. And now I'm not saying it's priced in right now and we're not going to go up. I think we will go up, and I think the ETF will be the catalyst for that. But it's not necessarily the reason why the market pumped. The market pumped because it created this Wyckoff accumulation schematic. But if you're on CNN or MSNBC or whatever news, right, and you're trying to explain to the viewers, yes, the price went up because it did this 1, 2, 3, and then it went into a creek, and then it broke out, and then it went into accumulation, and then it broke out again. People don't want to hear that. They want to hear Bitcoin ETF. That's why it exploded. That's the reason. It has to be a reason. And yes, you're right. It is the reason. Bitcoin ETF is the big catalyst. It is the news event. It is why it happened. But at the same time, it's also the schematic, right? Which is this right here. So if the Bitcoin ETF were to come out today or tomorrow, we could see a big pump. Now, I'm not saying it is. It might not even happen at all, right? They might reject it. But, or maybe next year. But the point is, I think we can break out regardless if the ETF news comes out or not. But it would be nice to have it, because then it sort of, because you always need a narrative, right? When the price goes in a direction, investors want to know why. Why is it doing that? Why did the price go up today? Why did the price go down today? Because markets are erratic. They don't make rational decisions, right? But people need a reason. Well, why? Why did people sell? Why did people buy? Because they need a narrative. And that's where the retail sentiment gets dragged off a cliff. Because if you're the guy who needs to know why, you need a narrative. Why did it go up? Why did it go down? It doesn't, it matters, but it doesn't matter, if that makes sense. It's all about the charts. The charts, the price is moving this way because people are buying and selling. That's it. And so, for example, if the price is only here, how did it know to come down here, to come back up here, to then come into this creek, right? This is a Wyckoff accumulation schematic. How did it know to print itself? It doesn't. It doesn't know. But it's being printed daily, not because of news, but because it just is what it is. It's like, you know, is it a simulation? Are we in the matrix, right? That's why trading, you know, using technical analysis is so trippy, right? Because here's the thing. You could see a pattern develop, right? So for example, you could see, let's say it's a descending a triangle here, right? And the price is coiling up, right? And then it breaks out. Well, you could have identified that before it broke out, right? So you can identify it maybe here or here. But when the news came out of whatever, right? Let's say a partnership, and then it broke out, you know, maybe your friend or somebody saying, that's why it broke out, because of this news. But you knew it was going to break out last week because you saw the triangle. See what I'm saying? That's why TA is a powerful tool. Did TA know that there's a piece of news coming out about a partnership? No. But what did the TA tell you? It told you that we were in this ascending triangle, which is a bullish pattern, right? So the news comes out and we break out. But you already knew it was going to break out because you don't always know. Let me take that back. You don't always know 100%. Nothing is ever 100%. And this video is not financial advice. I could be totally wrong on everything I say. Always know that. But what I'm saying here is people, retail, they need narratives. And people who are a little above the curb, the learning curve, high IQ, understand that the narrative goes along with why the price went up, and it's a way for retail to accept circumstances. But as traders and charts, we can see a narrative being set up in here, right? And you're saying, okay, I feel like the chart's going to break to the upside because it's forming this bullish ascending triangle, and I feel like it's going to happen sometime next week. And then all of a sudden they get a partnership, right? And then they break out. And then your friend goes, how did you know? How did you know about the partnership? How did you know it was going to break out next week? How did you, that's what I'm saying. You don't know. I didn't know. You didn't know. Nobody knew. But we could see the pattern being developed before it happened. But here's the trippy part. How did the pattern know to do this bullish pattern before the news even came out? That's why I like Blockchain Backer. If you watch him, he talks about, is it God? Is it a simulation? Is it magical fairy dust? Is it who? What is it? How is it possible that the pattern is creating itself before the actual news event takes place, right? And people who watch, like Jim Cramer, they need a narrative. Why did Anheuser-Busch drop 10% today? What did they do? They need a narrative. But if you know TA, you don't need a narrative, because guess what? Charts over everything, right? Price over everything. Price is king, in other words, right? Not the news. Technicals are triumph over fundamentals. Just look at Dogecoin. What fundamental value does Dogecoin have? Dogecoin was one of the biggest winners of all time. Dogecoin went up the equivalent of XRP going up $100+, which is insane, right? So, anyways, just wanted to give you a little rant there. Sometimes you learn something new every day, right? And hopefully this video has helped a little bit on narratives and the triangle, the where we are in the market and things like that. So I think so knowing all what we know and looking at the total market cap, we can see what for the last year plus this has been creating a Wyckoff accumulation pattern. Does it know that the spot ETF is coming out? Did it know a year and a half, 2 years ago? Maybe it did. I don't know. But one thing is for sure, the price is telling us before the news happens. And what we can see here, right here, right? Let me zoom in here. So 1, 2, 3, creek, breakout, consolidation, and then continue, just like this example here, right? You have this 1, 2, 3, and then you go into the creek, then you go into the breakout accumulation. So we are right in this area right in here. So what's going to happen news-wise in order for the price to go up? Or maybe it doesn't have to, right? Sometimes nothing happens, right? Bitcoin can break out in a major way. Remember the 2017 run-up? What was the reason? There was no real good reason or just any reason, really, right? For this bull run here, right? Like, why did it go up? There's a couple news things, but not a lot, right? So sometimes you don't need a narrative. You don't need news to tell you why the price went up because the chart told you already. But retail likes to have a narrative of why it happened. So, and that's the interesting part about it all. And I leave you with that. So I'm expecting this to sort of flag out in here, right? And this is all the altcoins. Maybe we come down and we back test this area and we come down further, A, B, C, and then we continue higher. Regardless, I think this is a 1, 2, 3, and now this is 4. We're in a fourth wave. We still have some downside, and then we go up to wave 5 and we break out of here. So we just have to, you know, keep tracking it and things like that. If I zoom in, yeah, there's really nothing here for me to go off of, except maybe we come down here. And this is all the altcoins. This is THETA, this is XRP, this is XL, this is all of them, right? Because it's a total 3. So boom, 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 boom. So we have 3, 3, 3. So probably a WXY, something like that, right? Or, you know, maybe even a triangle where we consolidate and go. Either way, number one, we need to come down, potentially come down for a back test. So the market could drop pretty bad and we can come down and back test this area. And then we can go up. Or we just continue to consolidate and then go up. So either way. But anyways, guys, I will leave you with that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I think the common theme for my videos is like, you better have an hour, because when Brandon drops a video, there's a lot of golden nuggets, and or at least I think so. And you know, so you better set aside some time, because you know, most videos, like I've seen 10, 12 minutes, and I can do that, but I just feel like I'm missing out on so much more valuable information. And for me, it's just like uncut, unedited, raw material. And, you know, some people like it, some people don't. It's just, you know, preference, and I'm fine with that. But thank you guys again for watching. If you can, please leave a like, a comment. It helps a little channel like mine get a little more traction in those algorithms, and maybe reach some more people. Maybe somebody out there is struggling on what to do with their decisions, and they need a little bit of reassurance, right? Maybe someone out there is thinking about dumping all of their crypto because they don't understand the narratives that are happening. Maybe they see a channel like mine and then they get more confident in what they are holding, because it can be an anxiety driven thing, right? When you buy crypto and you hold it, it can be you know, a lot of anxiety, because you don't know, hey, this can go to zero, this can go to $1 million. You just don't know. But understanding TA, understanding where we are in the chart, understanding the phases of the market, you know, helps clear things up and makes things more easily to hold. So there you go. Thank you guys for watching. I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.